Snow crawled across the valley like a wounded beast when Elias cade. Silent, towering, feared by every outlaw west of the mountains, spotted a bundle of torn blankets trembling beside an abandoned barn. His horse halted on instinct. Something inside those rags shivered, fragile as dying embers. When he stepped closer, a thin woman lifted her face, eyes hollow, lips cracked, body shaking with hunger and cold. She tried to speak, but her voice broke like brittle ice. Don't be scared, sir. I'm not worth much." Her fingers twisted together with shame. "But I can cook." Elias stared at her, at the bruises on her wrists, the frostbite on her cheeks, the fear hiding beneath every breath. This wasn't a beggar. This was someone who had been abandoned by the world itself. He dropped to one knee, voice low. "Who hurt you?" She flinched at the question. "Everyone. Eventually." Her stomach growled loud in the dead quiet valley. Elias noticed she shielded something under the blanket. He gently lifted the corner, revealing a small battered skillet, a wooden spoon, and a jar with the last crumbs of flour. She had carried not clothes, not food, but tools to serve someone else. His jaw clenched. "You survived a storm with nothing but this?" She nodded, ashamed. "Cooking kept me alive. People used me for it. When they were done, they left me outside." Elias felt heat rise in his chest, not anger at her, but at the cruelty carved into her life. He removed his thick coat and wrapped it around her trembling shoulders. "You shouldn't be outside in this weather." Her eyes widened. "I don't belong anywhere." Elias shook his head. "You do now." He lifted her gently onto his horse, but she resisted weakly. "Sir, you don't understand. I don't have money. I can't repay you." Elias tightened the blanket around her. "I'm not asking for payment." The woman looked confused. "Then, why help me?" Elias mounted behind her, steady and warm. "Because nobody deserves to freeze alone. Not on my land, not under my sky." The mountain trail was brutal, wind slicing at them like knives. She leaned into him unconsciously, shivering through every gust. Elias adjusted his arms to shield her from the storm. "What's your name?" he asked. Her voice was small. "Marin." He repeated it once, slow, as if memorizing it. "Marin. You're safe now." She swallowed a sob at words she hadn't heard in years. When they reached his cabin, a sturdy timber fortress against the storm, Marin hesitated at the door. "Sir, I don't want to trouble you." Elias opened the door wider. "Trouble would be leaving you out there." The warm glow of the hearth spilled across her frozen skin. She stepped inside timidly, eyes wide at the shelves, the tools, the pots hung neatly. "Is this all yours?" "It's ours for now," he replied quietly. Her legs gave out from exhaustion, and Elias caught her before she hit the floor. She panicked. "I'm sorry. I'll cook, I'll clean, He held her gently. "Marin, stop. You don't owe me anything tonight. Rest." Tears filled her eyes. She wasn't used to kindness that didn't demand repayment. Elias laid her near the fire, covering her with thick blankets. Her breathing steadied for the first time in days. While she slept, Elias cooked broth, simple, warm, filling. As he stirred the pot, he watched her stir in her sleep, wincing like someone haunted by past commands. He whispered under his breath, "Nobody orders you around here." When she woke, the smell of food reached her first. Her eyes widened with disbelief. "You cooked? For me?" Elias handed her the bowl. "Eat. I want you standing tomorrow." Marin sipped the broth, hands trembling. "No one has ever made me food." Elias sat across from her, elbows on knees. "They should have." She looked away. "Men only wanted one thing, and if I couldn't give it, they wanted food. When I failed I was thrown out." Elias felt the urge to hunt down every man who'd used her. "That ends today," he said, voice cold as steel. After eating, Marin studied the cabin again, its neat tools, the well-worn table, the smell of wood smoke. "You live alone?" she asked. Elias nodded. "Been alone a long time." Marin lowered her eyes. "Then why bring me? I'm nothing but trouble." Elias stepped closer, kneeling to meet her gaze. "You survived hell. That doesn't make you trouble. It makes you strong." No one had ever called her that. Marin reached for her skillet weakly. "Please, let me cook for you tomorrow. I want to earn my keep." Elias shook his head firmly. "You don't need to earn a place here." She stared, confused. "Then what do you want from me?" His answer was simple. "Your safety." She swallowed hard. No man had ever wanted that, only what she could give. Her heart trembled like a thawing river. Storm winds howled outside, but inside the cabin, warmth grew slowly between them. Elias prepared a spare bed for her, but Marin shook her head anxiously. "I can sleep on the floor. I'm used to it." Elias frowned. "Not in my home." He guided her to the bed gently. She touched the blanket, overwhelmed. "It's too soft," she whispered. "Good," he said. "You deserve soft." As Elias stepped back, Marin caught his sleeve timidly. "Sir, will you still want me here tomorrow?" Elias turned to her, eyes steady and certain. "Marin, I didn't bring you into my home for one night. You stay as long as you need, even forever, if you want." Her breath caught. For the first time in her life, someone wasn't planning to abandon her at dawn. Morning light crept into the cabin, brushing soft gold across the wooden floorboards. Marin woke slowly, blinking at the warmth she hadn't felt in years. Elias was already outside chopping wood, each swing firm and steady. She watched him through the frosted window, this giant mountain man who had carried her from the edge of death. She whispered to herself, "Why would a man like him help a woman like me?" When Elias stepped inside, cold air followed him. He handed her a steaming cup. "Drink this. You need strength." Marin accepted it with both hands, overwhelmed. "Sir, do you really want me to stay?" He nodded without hesitation. "You're safer here than anywhere else." Her eyes darted away. "People will talk." Elias shrugged. "Let them. The mountains don't care about gossip." "Neither do I." His certainty filled her chest with unfamiliar warmth. Marin insisted on cooking breakfast despite her weak legs. She gripped the counter to steady herself, mixing batter with trembling hands. Elias watched quietly, ready to catch her if she fell. "You don't have to," he murmured. Marin shook her head. "Cooking is the only thing I've ever been good at." Elias stepped closer. "You're more than that." She froze, echoing words she had never heard in her life. The scent of fresh bread filled the cabin, and Elias smiled faintly. "Smells better than anything I've had in years." Marin blushed. "I tried not to burn it." They sat across from each other, the table between them, but something invisible drawing them closer. She felt his gaze, gentle, patient, nothing like the hungry stares she was used to. He wasn't looking at her like a possession. He was looking at her like a person. After breakfast, Elias asked softly, "Where will you go when the storm clears?" Marin's shoulders collapsed. "I don't know. No place ever kept me long." Elias leaned forward. "What if I asked you to stay here? Not out of pity, but because I want you here." Marin's breath caught. "Sir, no one has ever wanted me." Elias shook his head. "Then they were fools." She stepped outside for fresh air, snow crunching under her bare feet. The mountains stretched endlessly, silent and unforgiving. She whispered, "I don't belong anywhere." Elias walked up behind her, placing his coat around her shoulders again. "You belong where you are respected, where you're warm, where you're wanted." Marin stared up at him. "And you want me?" His voice was quiet but strong, "More than you know," but fear clung to her like frost. "I'm broken. Elias, people used me. I'm not clean. I'm not what a real woman should be." Elias cupped her face gently, his touch warm as summer. "Marin, scars don't make you unworthy, they make you human." Her eyes watered. "But I'm not beautiful." He shook his head slowly. "Then I must be blind because I've never seen anyone scrounge back inside." Marin tried helping with chores, but her body weakened again. She wobbled, and Elias caught her instantly, lifting her as if she weighed nothing. "You push yourself too hard," he murmured. She clung to his shirt, embarrassed. "I don't want to be a burden." He carried her to the chair and knelt. "Listen to me. You surviving all this doesn't make you a burden. It makes you a miracle." Later, Marin prepared stew using what little he had. When Elias tasted it, he closed his eyes. This tastes like home." Marin froze. "Home?" He nodded. "Something I haven't felt in years." She turned away, afraid he'd see her tears. "I've never had a home," she whispered. Elias stood behind her, voice low. "Then let this be your first one." Marin trembled. Hope was a dangerous thing. Night settled, stars glimmering above the mountains. Marin sat near the fire, wrapped in a quilt. Elias placed another log into the flames and finally spoke. "Marin, what do you really want?" She stared into the fire. "I want to feel safe, to not wake up hungry or afraid, to be more than a tool." Elias sat beside her. "You deserve that, and I can give it, if you'll let me." She turned toward him, heart pounding. "Why me, Elias? You could find anyone, someone better." He shook his head. "There is no better, there's only you." She swallowed hard, overwhelmed by emotion she didn't understand. "I don't know how to be cared for." Elias smiled softly. Then let me teach you, one day at a time. The fire crackled, echoing the warmth slowly blooming inside her chest. A sudden gust of wind rattled the cabin walls, making Marin flinch violently. Elias gently reached for her hand. No one can hurt you here, he said firmly. She looked at their joined hands, his strong, warm, protective, hers small and shaking. Do you promise? She whispered. Elias met her eyes with quiet certainty. With my life. Marin breathed out slowly, finally believing it. Hours passed with soft conversation and gentle silence. Marin leaned her head on Elias's shoulder, startling herself. Sorry, she whispered. Elias shook his head. Don't apologize for needing warmth. She closed her eyes, letting her body rest against his. For the first time, she wasn't trying to earn her place. She wasn't being judged. She was simply safe. And safety felt like love. As sleep pulled her under, Marin murmured, Elias, will you truly let me stay? Elias lifted her into his arms and carried her to the bed, tucking her in gently. He brushed a strand of hair from her face. Marin, you walked into my life at the edge of a storm. You're not going anywhere, not unless you choose to. Her lips parted in a faint smile. For the first time in her life, she chose to stay.